Okay, and it took me a while to be back here for another episode. I would say almost a year. Promise to do it more regularly. And today we will be talking about police? No, parents. So we'll tackle the everlasting barrier between the IT professionals, namely IT security professionals, and the business users. Just make no mistake. I'm also a business user. That's, I believe, I have a right to try to be a bridge, so to speak. And what I'm hoping to get with this particular episode presentation is give you a few tips on how to handle this communication more subtly and hopefully get more results. So, without further ado, being a business user is not easy. I mean, I know being an IT security professional is not easy, but being a business user, you're constantly bombed. Whether it's information overload, what is the stock price of X, what happened in country Z, what Susan from another department said to Karen on the coffee break, whatever. There's just too much information, and your security awareness content or tips and tricks on how to stay cyber secure might simply not go through. Then there's the human error. I mean, I could read a book on that, and just basing of the blog post on the top vendors. Now, lack of personalization and being content specific, it's a deadly sin of every one of us. So not knowing who the audience is makes the communication pretty much universal, which means no one will ever want to hear it. Complacency, I mean, it won't happen to me. I remember when I was in the data protection market just after the GDPR came into power, and people were having this approach. Hmm, let's see who will get caught, who will get fined, how much, and and then I will do something about it. No one was thinking, oh, it might happen to me. Still, so it's probably understandable. The fast-paced environment, I mean, I know we have a ton of market quadrants, of ton of security technologies and ton of IT technologies, but believe me, the cybersecurity stack is at the bottom of the people's mind when it comes to business. They care about production environment, development kits, project management software, their CRM, their email, most of all, and some sort of communications and storage applications. What's this tiny agent saying? It just got a malicious process? Oh, ACDR. So you get the feeling, right? And the remote work. Everyone said a lot about remote work. Believe it or not, it's here to stay, and it's flexible, and it's nice to be at home, and it's so nice, it's almost cozy. I mean, I hope you feel cozy at home, but with this coziness, you put your guard down, and you're not in the perimeter, you're out of many controls, so you're an easier target. Um, but you're still cozy. So believe me or not, it's hard to be business user, and it's hard for IT security to simply make them listen, but make them listen because they want to listen, not because they have to. And we will cover it a little slide into the topic. I've recently run into a great report saying 6 deadly sins of IT security interactions. It's done by SAS Institute, and I will be happy to share a link if you reach out to me. Basically, it's assuming users are stupid. And believe it or not, I will cover this. There is a reason I called it police, not parents, this particular episode. Not tailoring communications to audience, duh, I mean, everywhere. Unintentionally creating insider threats due to poor usability. Oh, do you got a workaround for X? Oh, thank you. Happens. Having too much security. Don't crucify me yet. Depending on punitive measures and negative messaging, so rather stick than a carrot. and not considering user-centric measures of effectiveness. Oh, I love this one. It sounds so corporate, but it will make more sense along the way. So let's start with users are not stupid. I mean, assuming users are stupid, but believe me, they are not. Your company wouldn't hire them um, if they would be, unless, okay, you know where I'm going with them. Basically, if you are disrespecting the other side, then it will pretty much escalate into us versus them. There will be this IT security seen as obstacles, as bad guys, as people no one wants to have anything in common with. And this creates the security fatigue. Main reasons, like, believe me, people generally have much more important things, key thing they are measured on than being compliant with the cybersecurity policies. Usually they have to do something terrible to have problems because they broke some cybersecurity policy. The cybersecurity can be seen as disruptive. For example, I'm trying to send this customer list for the third time to other department, and I get this DLP notification. It blocks me, and I need to send it, and oh my god! And people simply lack security awareness. It's a global problem. The main thing to do is not play the blame game, is to understand. Like, believe me, if you will understand once, you will create a template to every time deal with this certain problem. So if there is a process where a security alerts get in the way more often, and they are investigated as false positive, maybe it's a problem with the process. Or maybe if the user fell on the phishing, it would be great to make a case study of it and teach the other users. Not saying, oh my God, look at this guy. How can you fall for it? But rather, we understand the phishing is getting more and more sophisticated. It's easy to fall. We recently had a case, and it's normal. Like, people fall into phishing every other day. Here's what we can do together to prevent it. And here we tailor the communication to the audience. We don't say, we need the ZTNA to be compliant with the LP policy, having the zero trust structure in mind, because then our IR analysts will be helping SOC to work greatly. Just making it up. But what you can say is, and I also making it up, by the way, remember this story about three little piggies, and one had a house made of straw, and the big bad wolf blew it away. Another had it made of sticks, and the big bad wolf blew it away. And the last one built it out of bricks, and guess what? She was safe. The same way, if you will abide to certain rules, you might save yourself a lot of trouble. And everyone has a boss, so you will save me a lot of trouble, because then I will have to investigate and respond, and then I will have to create reports about forensics, about the incident communication, etc. So better safe than sorry, in plain English. But don't assume people are stupid, but don't assume that they know everything, that they are a specialist in cybersecurity. The key thing on this slide, be a translator of cybersecurity. Like what Einstein said, if you cannot explain it in an easy way, you probably don't know it yourself well. Translate it into cybersecurity, period. Now, insider threats can be divided. There are malicious insider threats, for example, the enterprise espionage or industry espionage. So people who will deliberately want to take something from you posing as an employee, or employee who is feeling so bad that he wants to intentionally do something against you. But on the other hand, there are people that are doing something by mistake. Occasionally, they are trying to do their work. Security is kind of an obstacle to doing this work, so they're finding the workaround. Oh my God, there are clubs of workaround finders. So while you are planning any kind of controls implementation or policy implementation, it's good to have someone from the end user line, or at least a help desk manager or help desk analyst to, represent the nation, the people. Basically, you don't want to frustrate your users, or you will get a ton of security alerts elsewhere because they will try to find a workaround. Few practices. Try to find, try as much as you can to think about it during a POC stage. I know it's not easy. That's why I said have at least one in your, how to say, decision committee, anyone representing the end users, like who will be affected as a person working on the workstation, where the technology will be deployed as an agent, or the traffic from this workstation will be flowing through some kind of security proxy. Now, this one is a key. Share best practices. You don't have to do it daily, but it has to be a daily best practices. For example, while working on document where you are processing information X, you might find that there will be an alert saying this. Don't worry, just do this. Or if you plan to download an application or use a cloud storage, which is not on this list, please be aware that it is blocked, and don't try to upload it 100 times and hope that one of those will be okay. Just stop it and use designated storage and designated set of applications, please. And offload burden when possible. But offloading the burden, it's basically keeping your users informed and not having too much security. Just please take a risk-based approach. The right way to do it is, first, there is a risk that it exists. Then you kind of describe it and measure it. So there's something to be afraid of. Now you know what to be afraid of and how much to be afraid of. And then based on the possible impact of this risk, you take action. You implement a technology, you put a new process in place, you hire another guy for cybersecurity. Generally, whether it's an audit, defending a new security purchase in front of a board, or simply creating a big presentation for your peers or on any kind of event, taking a risk-based approach to cybersecurity is a best practice. And this goes to messaging. Now, don't ever play it with a stick. Like I said, don't blame anyone. Don't try to be overprotective. Don't assume people are stupid. Don't try to, threat them with some sanctions if they will break the policy. Because the thing is, if everyone will be scared, no one will be willing to take action. No one will be your ally. You will be by yourself as IT security professionals. So whenever someone does something bad, don't make an example out of him. Rather, acknowledge the action. Like I said, with don't play the blame game. Say, okay, I understand. And then use it to educate others. The same on every very good idea, and this is also connected to tailoring the communication to your audience. Invite non-technical users to talk about cybersecurity. Show that everyone is creating cybersecurity, that it's more than an empty slogan. Praise for legitimate concerns. I mean, if someone is giving you a 10 false positives, don't say, oh my God, how can you do this, bro? Rather say, okay, I understand that you're concerned and you're doing the right thing. Please next time consider looking at header of the email, looking for some sort of typos or some sort of change of the address, or maybe just try to put a cursor on the link and see if this actually is pointing to the right link. Praise the concerns and pay with knowledge. Educate those people who seem to be getting cybersecurity. It's like if you see your child, by the way, note, I'm talking about children again. This has an underlying concept behind it. If children is kind of like playing the ball, maybe it's good to get him on a football training or her, whatever. Because if people do not feel their action will mitigate the threat, they're likely to choose to not to act. The evil spreads when good people choose to do nothing. My God, I'm getting too hyped up about it. I hope you got the point. And the last one, which I said is very corporate. Basically, you want to be data-driven. Sometimes when there is too much false positives, it's not the problem of the people trying to be evil. Sometimes it's a broken business process. Sometimes when something, let's say, is breaking, like there is a constant break of some policy, it's not a problem about the users, it's a problem of the policy. Or maybe sometimes when there is a problem of devices, constantly not meeting the threshold of security to be allowed to this particular network. It's a problem of people having too old equipment and not trying to break into the network. Just gather the data, find the root causes. You can use the 5 whys, whatever, but try to look into the data and understand why, then implement. And the more you will incorporate the business user in a smart way, the less noise you will get. It will be a lot of noise at the start, but then you will orchestrate it. And because believe me, if you will, let's say, drop the user feedback and you will get a big noise of alerts, it's very hard to hear the melody of the attacks in the noise of the alerts. Trust me. With this, I also got some, how to say, my personal advice. And my personal advice, listen first, stay silent, just listen, take notes. You will get the human patterns, human behaviors patterns that are priceless. When you're giving a feedback, focus on the behavior, not the person. It's not, oh my God, you're so bad, you fell for it. What you did is A, it resulted in action B. It would be better if it resulted in action C. It's not your fault, but the behavior needs to be changed, please, because it will work for the greater good for every one of us. On the other hand, the constructive feedback is direct. Don't beat around the bush. If it's bad, then it's bad. But it's not the whole person is bad. It's just his action in this particular situation. So let's say, okay, bro, in this situation, you behaved wrong. I hope you will understand that. And in case if this situation arises again, you will do this. It's not mean, it's clear. And avoid being being a tyrant. You need to. I would rather if you please consider next time, be polite. I mean, politeness will get you a ton of respect, and it will simply help you communicate better with others. And try to drop yes, but. I mean, I know it's very generic, but still, it's yes. Also, or yes, and too generic. Okay. Always explain what good looks like. So let's say, okay, this is the example of people being too hasty. They got this email from a distant relative saying they have 10 millions to send them. They just need to click this and write their bank account credentials or their Office 365 credentials, whatever. What the good would look like is first think about it. Does someone mails you out of the blue trying to send you a $10 million? Maybe be careful with this email. Look at this, look at this, look at this, right? Or maybe when there is a pop-up you never seen on a site you visit daily, and it's kind of tailored for what you're looking for, it's better to go Google it. Whatever, just saying. And aim for face-to-face feedback. Now, this is pretty managerial. I mean, this is pretty, how to say, generic as well, especially if this is critical, especially if the blame is, don't play the blame game, right? Especially if there's a big problem, better to solve it face to face. I mean, it shows you care as a person, it shows you don't hide behind your computer, and it's simply a human thing to do, to go face to face, or at least at Teams. I'm doing it right now, right? So it works. Now, what I wanted to say with the topic, the title, the first slide is, remember, comparing it to the children and parents. As parents, you need to always be understanding and patient, because you were a child once and child never was an adult. Same goes for security aware users and those less aware. Remember, child never was an adult. Adult was a child, so adult more understanding. Hope you get the message. Now with this, I know I had a too long break, but I really hope what I'm doing, I do it kind of for training, but if this helped at least one person, I'm happy about myself. Thank you very much. And anything I can do for you, maybe not anything, but cybersecurity thing I can do for you, just hit me up. I will try to at least give you a direction. Cheers. All the best. Thank you.